This morning, that Hall of Famer Cris Carter, Mr. Nick Wright.
Good morning, everybody.
Good. How was your first night after the show with us?
Well, you know, it took me a minute to just really appreciate how special yesterday was with you two gentlemen. And then I popped up this morning, and I was so happy to do it again.
I'm very excited for today's show. Yesterday's show was a ton of fun. Yesterday was kind of a quiet night as far as the live sporting events, aside from the Olympics, but a lot of good stories to get into. And tonight, there are some great games on that we will get into as well.
Games, hot in the courts. But we will start with the Ball family. Now, we know Lonzo hasn't played since January 13th, so we must be talking about his father, LaVar. Yeah, LaVar told a Lithuanian reporter on Monday that Lonzo and his other sons are going to actually be a package deal. LaVar says, quote, Lonzo will go to any team that will take all three of my boys. Cris Carter, Lonzo's 20-year-old grown man. Is it time for him to say something to his father?
No, all 20-year-olds aren't grown.
Oh,
I mean, just because you've been on the earth 20 years, like that doesn't effectively make you a man. And Nick knows this is not one of my favorite topics to talk about because I don't like to get involved with parents and how they should raise their kids. But I do have some experience with craziness, with families, with parents, not like Mr. Ball is, but, you know, odd, strange, think that they knew more than what they actually know. And we hadn't heard anything. You mentioned Lonzo. He hadn't played since January 13th. The boys are off in Lithuania. Now, I know they're doing something there, but I hadn't heard much of them. So now the dad, because this is the key part, Lithuanian reporters, there after a game, he makes this soundbite. Oh, we're going to be a package deal. I thought the dad was into winning championships. It seems like he's winning the championships. So now he's got this little show. So now he's got to be able to create content. So you guys can realize that over the next several years, every month, the guy gonna say something. Like, this is the new normal. Yeah. What Doug Peterson say, them winning in Philadelphia is the new normal. This is the new normal as far as sports is concerned, because there's no way that he can drum up enthusiasm for his brand unless he continues to say stuff like this.
Make headlines.
Yeah, like he's got a son that he said he spoke it into existence, that being with the Lakers, Magic Johnson took over. Wouldn't you think that's the perfect grooming for your son?
It was literally a dream come true.
I mean, who is a big point guard, Magic Johnson coming back to take over basketball operations with Rob Pelinka, and then now the dad, after I thought they sat down and talked to him. You know, so there is no talking. So I know people would say, man, at some point, you know, Lonzo needs to, you know, let his manhood out and speak to his dad. No, his dad's crazy. His dad is going to be crazy and is going to continue to make comments like this on a regular, because that's the only way he's going to be able to generate attention to his brand, whatever that is.
I don't care what LaVar says. I don't care that LaVar says if the Lakers don't pick up LiAngelo in 2 years from now, after Lonzo's third year, he'll leave the team, totally disregarding the fact that Lonzo Ball has no power. At the earliest possible date Lonzo Ball could be a free agent is after year 5. He has a 4-year contract. I don't have to get into it. If he were to turn down restricted free agency and just take the qualifying offer, that takes him through year 5. He is, in sports parlance, the basketball property of the Lakers through 5 years of his NBA career. So ignore the fact that LaVar just doesn't understand the machinations of NBA free agency. It is time for Lonzo to say something, not necessarily to his father, but publicly to the world about whether or not he's on board with what his dad is saying. I understand that 20 years old does not make you a fully grown man, but you are close to grown. And you are grown enough as a professional athlete that when your dad has publicly undermined your coach, you want to stay silent? Fine, I'll let that one slide. But if he is now saying, listen, my son will leave the team or attempt to leave the team, you need to tell the world if that's accurate. Because if you say nothing, then we are only left to believe, well, I guess he agrees with him. Because I don't think, I do not hold Lonzo responsible for what LaVar says, but at some point, when it is about him and his future with his current employer, with his dream employer, he needs to let us know if he agrees with his father.
I agree with both of you that he is not in a position to say anything directly to his father, because we all probably know enough about family dynamics to know that ain't the way it works. However, you're both exactly right. That silence, I think, can be construed effectively as him being complicit with said package deal, restrictions. And I don't think that's in the best interest of Lonzo. And I think at some point, LaVar has to decide, are you going to let one of your son's careers suffer at the expense of a possible good career for the other two?
Listen, the boys are separate of each other.
Sure.
Like, there's no way that they can be a package deal, because in sports, it's about being the best. And there's no way that there's zero chance that the Lakers sign all three of them. And forget about what's their potential. Like, the other kids aren't NBA players right now. And when did we're just holding on whatever his advice is as far as pro basketball players, like Mr. Ball. Like, what's his experience? What does he know about building the team? And now he can decide what he wants to do with his boys, but now that his son, his oldest one, has been drafted by the Lakers, like, he's come into our lane. Now he's affecting the team. The team said that they sat down with him and talked with him, basically gave him, restrictions on what he should do. But no, you guys have to realize he can't make money. He's not making money off those shoes. How's he making money? Second season of the Facebook Live, right? That's what the series that they have, right? That's the only way you can make money.
And the mixtape?
How do you bring visibility? By sound bites, just like this.
And listen, LaVar went on undisputed with Skip and Shannon and committed. Once Lonzo goes to the Lakers, I'm out of it. I'm worried about LaMelo and LiAngelo, but I'm out of Lonzo's business as far as his professional career. That clearly was not true. But I also want to because, listen, LaVar has said things about you and I both, and I only mention that to say LaVar is aware of us and aware of this show. So let me speak to LaVar directly for a moment. You're playing this wrong, man. There are instances of the brother being signed as a favor to the better big brother. J.R. Smith got Chris Smith a deal with the Knicks when Chris Smith was not even a D-League level player. Goran Dragic got Zoran Dragic a deal with the Heat when Zoran was not an NBA player. If LaMelo turns into...
Now, those weren't guaranteed contracts.
Correct, but he got him a shot. If Lonzo turns into a star, I don't think I don't think his stardom would reach down and pull up LiAngelo. But if LaMelo were to continue on the top 15 prospect trajectory, maybe he could help him out. But instead of Lonzo being able to help LaMelo or LiAngelo get some type of look with the Lakers, what's going to end up happening is Lonzo's going to end up not with the Lakers. Because let's not forget this. The Lakers are not big fish hunting. They are whale hunting this offseason.
Yes.
This offseason, they're going after the most prized asset in sports, LeBron James. And do you think...
And another asset. Magic was very, very clear.
Right, at least two guys.
Yes.
Do you think NBA empowered, in LeBron's case, near billionaire, and Paul George's case, 100 millionaire guys, want to, as an added bonus of going to Los Angeles, get to deal with the LaVar Ball circus? Especially if his son is shooting 35% from the field and giving you 12 points a game? Like this, LaVar, I don't know if he's spoken into existence, but everything up until the draft lottery went perfectly for him. And everything since the draft lottery, it's like he's been working against it.
Well, we thought everything was perfect. Now, you can barter these deals in college. They happen all the time. You have a number of scholarships. It's easy to do that. I believe that they did that at UCLA. It was going as planned. But there's a number of other incidents that have happened since then that would have the Ball family, people wouldn't want to invite them as a group.
Yeah.
Into their organization, because as you can see, the high school coach got fired. He talked bad about Steve Alford at UCLA. He said things about the coach, Luke Walton. Now he's talking about the Lakers and their organization. So what else is next? This is what's next. This is the new normal. We'll wait another 30 days, and then he'll say something else, something outrageous again, so he can bring some optics to his brand.
Well, you spoke to LaVar. Let me take a moment and speak to Lonzo. Lonzo, good sir, or if you're listening, I understand you can't check your father, right? But what you can do is take control And you're right, Chris, 20 doesn't mean grown, but 20 should be empowered enough to have some real intentionality around the direction of your career. You are, for better or worse, a professional in the National Basketball Association, right? Okay, so now you got to what? Act professional. And you have to go to your leadership of your team. And you need to say, my father's my father. I can't be accountable or responsible for his interactions. However, this is what my commitment is to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Now, I fully support that. That's a private conversation because you just can't take this as being crazy. Because I've seen him on shows with his dad, and they say, well, how do you feel about certain things? Like, that's just my dad talking stuff. That will only go so far. When it begins to affect your business, I totally agree with you. I think that he should go to the Lakers privately just to let Magic, because Magic is very approachable. And we've been in sports long enough. This is not the craziest story that we've heard.
This helicopter parenting is common.
Let me just real quick, because you mentioned you've been around the NBA, you've been around pro athletes for basically your entire adult life. But the one aspect of this that you haven't mentioned is you also are the parent of a professional athlete. What is your responsibility to Duran as far as his career goes, in your opinion?
Right, to teach him reality. To teach him the best way to understand the business. And you need to put yourself in position so that you can be successful. And man, you can't help nobody else until you help yourself. Lonzo's biggest problem is, Denny Green taught us this: every person is in business as an independent contractor for yourself. Lonzo he ain't an independent contractor. He contracted for the dad, for the two brothers, and for the rest of the family. That's just too much pressure to put on a young man. The game and the profession is hard enough in itself, let alone trying to manage your family. And there are more guys that their career is ended because they can't manage their family. It's not a matter of the basketball or the football or whatever professional sport. It's the things off the court they can't manage that they can be a professional and reach their potential.
Absolutely right. The collective becomes a liability.
Yes.
All right. Coming up, our NFL team's about to start copying the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's next. First things first.
It's a copycat league.